in January 2018. So this is a formula for profit. So that's what we're going to use on the next line. So if we have Tn is equal to 250 n minus 4250, it asks us what profit does the company make in January 2018, i.e. month 25. So it's actually telling us what the n is. So this n here is the month. So to figure this out, you're going to work out T25. So T25 is 250 multiplied by n, in this case the 25th month, minus 4250. And again, when you multiply all of that out and work it out, it is coming out at 2 grand. That's 2,000. So again, writing beside it what it is, that is the profit on month 25, which happens to be January 2018. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, so the next one, find the month in which the company breaks even, i.e. a profit of 0. So again, what I would be saying here is find the month in which the profit is 0. So I would start off by writing profit is 0 and then try and turn it into some maths. So profit equals 0. And we actually do have some maths for the profit. And again, we just used it there a few minutes ago. We know that the formula for profit is 250n minus 4250. We know that because we figured it out up here in part 2. We have a profit formula, 250n minus 4250. So back down to here, if this profit has got to be equal to 0, well then the question is asking us find the month. And as we saw in the previous question, the month is always n. So we need to find n on its own. So we're going to go 250n is equal to, and then bring across your negative 4250, that becomes positive 4250. And of course then to find your n is going to be 4250 divided by 250. So that's going to give us a total value of n is equal to 17. Again, what does that mean? That is the 17th month that the profit is like that. Okay, part 5. Oops. Find Sn, the general term for the total profit of the company after n months. Sn, even before you read the rest of the question or think about profit, write down the Sn formula. So Sn formula is n over 2, again it's in your maths tables, n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. And then you're going to fill in any details that you actually have. So what have we got? The first term, which is a, that's minus 4,000. Again, all of this is coming from the table up above. The difference, as we've seen already, is 250. And that's a positive 250. It's going up each time. And then just sub the numbers in. So in this example, Sn is going to be n over 2 into 2 times a, which is 2 times minus 4,000, plus n minus 1 multiplied by d, which is 250. And again, this 250 is going to be multiplied by n, and it's also going to be multiplied by the minus 1. So when you work through it, it's going to give you Sn is equal to n over 2. That's minus 8,000 plus 250n minus 250. And that's that one. And then you've just got to tidy it up as best you can. So now what we've got is Sn is equal to n over 2. And then I'm just going to put the 250n. And then minus 8,000 and minus 250 is going to give us minus 8,250. Oops. I finished that. And that's sufficient. That will do. You don't need to go down any further. Some instances you may have to multiply the n in here to get 250n squared and so on and so forth, but this is perfectly sufficient for what you need at the moment. That question, by the way, is worth about 10 marks. Most of these are ranging between 5 and 10 marks. So part 6, hence or otherwise find the total profit. So again, what is this thing that we've just found here, this Sn? The clue is always in the question. When you go back up, it tells you to find SN, the general term for the total profit. So this here is total profit formula. So when you move on to this next question, when the question says, hence or otherwise find the total profit, again, this is what you're going to be using. You're going to be using SN is equal to N over 2 into 250N minus 8250. And you're going to pop your numbers in here. It wants it at the end of January 2019, and thankfully it gives us, we don't have to count it up, it gives us month 37. Again, we know at this stage that the month is always N. So in this particular one, instead of SN, we're finding S37. So that's going to give us 37 divided by 2. And that is going to give us 250 multiplied by N. So 250N, which is 250 multiplied by 37, minus 8250. So that gives us S37 is equal to, and when you work all that out, you're going to end up with 18,500. So again, this is profit. This is total profit. So that should answer that. Ignore any noises in the background. That is my wild demonic children. Okay, we'll try something else in a second. 2018. This particular question, I'm not sure whether it's question 1 or question 3. Pause the video and go to your exam papers and have a quick look. Sean is joining a sales company. He was offered 2 different salary contracts. Let's have a look at them. So contract A, he's getting 35 grand basic pay, so he gets that regardless. But he gets 2% of any sales at the end of the year. Or you can go with contract B, which is 30 grand and 3% of any sales. So find how much Sean would earn under each contract if his sales were 400 grand. So under contract A, this one here, he's getting 35,000. Plus he's going to get 2% of 400 grand. Whereas in contract B, he's going to get 30,000 plus 3% of 400 grand. So all you've got to do is work out the numbers, add them together, and see what it works out to be. In this particular one, when you work this out, this is going to give you 43,000. I'm making an assumption that people are okay with doing percentages. In this particular example, we've got 42,000. So although the 3% looks nicer, this is definitely the better option, the 43,000. 50 grand in a particular year, and she is on contract A. So again, find her total sales for the year. She's earning 50 grand in a particular year. Something you got to look at there. She is earning 50 grand total. Okay, so 50 grand total is her salary plus her percentage sales. Now, her salary, because she's on contract A, her salary is 35,000. So if she's got a 35,000 salary and she has 50 grand earnings, shall we say, over the year, that means she has made 15 grand just from commission. And that's sales commission. So what we have to do is look at, find her total sales for the year. 15 grand of it was made on commission. Again, that's how much money she's making, but that doesn't tell us how much sales were actually made. One of the ways I would look at this is, because she's on contract A, she's working on 2%, as we can see up here. So that means if her commission is 15,000, that means 2% is equal to 15,000. Because she made 15 grand and that was her 2%. So how do we find out her total sales for the year? Well, there's one thing for certain, that if 2% is 15 grand, the total volume of sales is going to be 100%. Now, how do we go from 2% up to 100%? Well, this is quite handy, because one of the easiest ways you can do this is just by multiplying by 50. If you take 2% multiplied by 50, you get 100%. But you got to do the same thing to this number over here, multiplied by 50. When you multiply across that by 50, you end up with 750,000. Now again, this is the sales that she brought into the company. She didn't make this money. Okay, these are the sales she brought in, and look at it backwards so you can understand it. If she brought in 750 grand of sales and she gets a 2% commission, then the 2% of the 750 grand sales is 15,000, and this makes sense. Okay, so that's all you're looking for, the 750,000. Not the most obvious question, and there is a couple of other ways of doing it. Some people would divide by 2% here as well. Just depends on what you want to do. So next, find the total sales for which a salesperson would earn the same amount of money under each contract. What you need is contract A, and the amount of money you're making out of contract A. You want that to be equal to the money you're making out of contract B. Now, contract A is fairly straightforward. Contract A is saying that you're going to make 35,000 plus 2% of your sales. The problem is we don't know what the sales are. So in maths, when you don't know what the sales are going to be, you generally put it as X. So 35 grand basic salary plus 2% of your sales. And you want that to be equal to contract B. Now, contract B is slightly different. It's 30,000 and it's added on to 3% of sales. So this sets up a basic equation. How do we work this out? Well, you just keep going with it. It's 35,000 plus now 2%. 2% has got to be changed into something that we can work with. 2%, of course, on the side of the page, 2% is 2 divided by 100. It's 2%, and that equals 0.02. So what we have up here is 0.02 multiplied by x gives you x. It's 35,000 plus 0.02 multiplied by our sales. We want that to be equal to 30,000. And we do the same thing here, except this is 0.03x. And again, what are we looking for? We are looking for the total sales. The total sales here is going to be x, right? So sales is always the x values. So what we need is we need to find x on its own. So anything with an x on it, get it on one side. So we got 0.02x is going to be equal to, we bring over the 0.03x. And then bring over the 35,000. And then tidy up your numbers. So here we've got minus 0.01x is equal to minus 5,000. So when you keep working down through it, there's a minus on both sides, so you end up with 0.01x is equal to 5,000. So you want x. So x then is going to be equal to 5,000 divided by 0.01. So you end up with x equals 500,000. Okay, and again, that there is the total sales. That's the total sales for contract A to be worth the same as contract B.